Asia Wilson loves to do two things. Two things. Play the victim and is completely delusional as well, I guess. She's petty, too.
Take a moment to consider that Asia Wilson believes the WNBA has the most difficult schedule of any professional sport. She also asserts that she could defeat NBA star Josh Hart in a one-on-one match. Fans have responded to her daring remarks on her most recent appearance on the Roommate program in a variety of ways. Some are laughing, others are shaking their heads, and many are wondering what Asia Wilson is even thinking.
Coming back, like, do you feel like as like professional athletes, you guys have like the most like stressful, like strenuous, like careers?
Yeah, for sure.
However, these remarks are only the beginning. There have been conflicting opinions about the WNBA's expansion, as well as an odd leak from those close to her that nobody really requested. Wilson has been making headlines this week for all the wrong reasons, and the criticism is mounting. Today, we're going to examine Asia's recent antics, how they're turning off fans, why players like Caitlin Clark are winning hearts, and what this all means for women's basketball going forward and the MVP award.
Asia Wilson is the queen of the delusion. She's absolutely the queen of the delusion.
Let's begin with Asia. Wilson's most audacious assertion to yet is that, according to the reality show, the WNBA has the hardest schedule in professional sports, even more so than the NBA, MLB, or even the NFL. To give her some credit, Wilson said the WNBA season was an exhausting experience that no other league could match. Making the switch from collegiate to professional basketball is difficult. Wilson noted that WNBA rookies have little time to prepare between the NCAA championships and the draft, particularly if their college team advances far in the tournament. Training camps begin nearly immediately, and there are no rookie combines. But does this really make the WNBA schedule more difficult than leagues with a lot more games and travel requirements?
I feel like for us, like, we don't have, our rookie orientation is not like anything too crazy. It's literally like, obviously like a day before the draft and you're sitting there and you're talking, but it's like, we don't get to go work out for teams. We don't have a combine and you're going, and it's insane. So yeah, I would have to say our schedule is pretty crazy.
Let us make a comparison. There are 40 games in the WNBA season. MLB players play 162 games in a season, sometimes even more than one game at a time. The NBA schedule consists of 82 games. While NFL players face weekly violent altercations over a 17-game season due to constant travel and back-to-backs, the WNBA provides a more streamlined schedule with shorter seasons and fewer travel requirements.
What about the actual NBA? And I understand a lot of them superstars are load managing, but there's still 82 games there. How many games did they just play? 40. Not counting the playoffs, but I mean, Major League Baseball players do 162, not counting the playoffs. It's so disrespectful to other sports.
Fans didn't hold back when expressing their thoughts. One person said, "I think 40 games is hard. Try playing an 82-game season while flying coast to coast every week." Another person asked, if the WNBA schedule is the hardest, what does that make MLB? Many others questioned how an MVP could be so detached from the realities of professional athletics, and the derision was unending.
She's got to be the world heavyweight champion. Hey, you are a champion. World heavyweight champion of being petty, delusional, and playing the victim. Really? You're complaining about the rookie transition. So disrespectful to MLB athletes. I mean, honestly, it's wild. Didn't know the WNBA had an 82-game schedule. They literally play only 4 months a year.
Why this assertion is made the lost chance to win MVP is even more perplexing. Wilson's platform is crucial for the WNBA's growth because fans expect her to highlight the league's strengths rather than sounding like she's complaining and making it seem unappealing to potential viewers. However, at a time when the league is fighting for respect and growth, Wilson's claim that she could defeat NBA player Josh Hart in a one-on-one game wasn't the most shocking thing she said during the interview. Let's just say the internet wasn't ready for that one eye.
I feel like the score would be like 8-11. Me.
11.
I get ball first.
You get ball first.
She does get
Yeah,
ball
you're
first.
not gonna get it
Ball
back.
first.
And you
So-
could,
so-
but that's gonna be your time. Like that's gonna be your period, which is fine. I'm not saying I'm gonna go scoreless, but 8-11, I feel like it's pretty solid.
Wilson boldly asserted that she could defeat NBA player Josh Hart in a one-on-one match. She even estimated the score to be 118. Let's take a moment to consider this. While confidence is crucial for any athlete, there is a thin line between self-belief and overconfidence. Wilson's remarks not only went over that boundary, they bounded it.
So what do you think it'll be, Josh? Don't piss me off. Do not piss me off.
Josh Hart is a well-liked NBA player who is recognized for his ability to play defense and hustles cool. Humor's response on the podcast didn't require a harsh response.
Like a good 11, probably like 11-7.
Okay, that's fair. You got 7? Okay.
No.
You
What you mean?
However, her subtle social media posts were met with a mixture of incredulity and mockery from fans and pundits. She should quit criticizing NBA players and start focusing on her own shooting percent instead. Although the feedback was harsh, it also highlighted a serious problem: the unjustifiable disparity between the leagues. Let's face it, the physicality, speed, and skill sets needed to compete in the NBA versus the WNBA are very different. Even Wilson's height, which is advantageous in her league, would be insufficient to compete against the size and agility of NBA players who are similarly tall but much stronger. The result of such a matchup would not be close.
Let's be honest. 11-0. You can give her the ball first, you can block her shot, you can grab the rebound, and then you can dunk it on her 11 times. Unless this has some rule where you have to shoot threes, and you can't shoot anything inside of 22 feet, if Josh Hart plays a one-on-one game against A'ja Wilson, straight up, regular one-on-one, he would absolutely annihilate her. It would be 11-0.
It's puzzling that this assertion eclipsed Wilson's MVP credentials rather than her real accomplishments, leaving fans to argue about a speculative scenario that no one took seriously for a league looking to establish credibility. Comments such as these don't help, but if you believe that Wilson's controversy peaked with this claim, reconsider. Her subsequent criticism of the WNBA's growing popularity only served to fuel the flames. If you've watched this far and are enjoying the video, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We understand that watching this video takes up some of your time, and we appreciate it. Let's get back to the action.
This is the time, like we're in the season of women's basketball, and it was so much fun to just it was aggravating, I'm not gonna lie, it was super annoying sometimes, because you're constantly, you feel like you have to reprove yourself, and you feel like you have to go out and be like, no, this is what y'all been missing, and it kind of took away the fun of the game, because you felt like you had to defend yourself and defend who you are as a player every single game.
Given that the league is finally receiving more attention, viewership is increasing, and young players like Caitlin Clark are poised to further elevate the sport, you would think that someone as well known as A'ja Wilson would embrace the WNBA's growing popularity. However, Wilson's recent comments on the same show reveal a different picture. Wilson called the WNBA's increased attentions super annoying. Indeed, fans couldn't believe what they were hearing. A league that has battled for years to win respect and recognition is suddenly a source of annoyance for one of its best talents.
I don't know. You guys are y'all really, really toxic. I don't think we're that toxic. I think we're pettier. We're petty for sure.
Does she want the WNBA to expand or remain small so she can receive all the attention one user posts? Social media didn't hold back. Another person commented that the league's MVP is irritated by the attention she fought for, therefore that makes sense. The criticism went beyond her remarks and brought attention to the widening gap between Wilson's behavior and the league's objectives.
Finally giving us what's been due for, obviously, in our eyes, 28 years.
It's difficult to overlook the irony. Wilson is one of the most well-known players in the NBA, enjoying endorsement deals, MVP awards, and a platform that few players get. However, Rather than applauding the league's expansion, she is undermining the very thing that keeps her in the spotlight. What's even more perplexing is the contradictory message this sends to fans. Wilson talks about how WNBA players put in a lot of work and should be treated with more respect, yet she complains when that regard results in increased scrutiny and attention. This paradox leaves fans perplexed.
Before Caitlin Clark, this was the face of the WNBA. No wonder all the ratings and the viewers showed up after Caitlin Clark got involved. This ain't it. This ain't it. I mean, that's delusional on a whole nother level.
Wilson is burdened by the stark difference between players like Caitlin Clark, who are thriving in the spotlight and using their platforms to engage with fans and promote the game. Clark recognizes a chance.
The amount of people that have showed up in the stadiums, from the viewership numbers to people really wanting to wear a WNBA player's jersey or buy their merch or whatever it is, or have their shoe. Just how it's evolved in such a short period of time, I think shows everyone, there is real opportunity here.
Not only are Wilson's remarks annoying, but they also represent a lost opportunity to lead the league at a critical juncture in its history. With more eyes on women's basketball than ever before, the WNBA needs its stars to shine rather than pout. If Wilson's comments regarding the league's expansion weren't already contentious, the next story involving A'ja Wilson took things to a whole new level.
A'ja Wilson is not playing in Unrivaled, much like Caitlin Clark's not. But there's been a story surfaced by way of Sports Business Journal that is baffling, and it is getting absolutely crushed right now because nobody believes it.
When you thought A'ja Wilson's week of headlines couldn't get any more bizarre, news broke that she had turned down a lucrative offer from a brand new 3-on-3 basketball league that was trying to draw in big-name players. This wasn't your normal contract negotiation, though, as Wilson's camp allegedly leaked that her offer was even greater than Clark's, and the timing couldn't have been more dubious. By turning down an unprecedented, historic $1 million offer, Clark had already made waves and received global acclaim for her dedication and humility. Wilson's team appeared to take over the microphone a few hours later to ensure that everyone was aware that her offer was larger and that she too turned it down.
Did you see how many people showed up to watch Caitlin Clark play golf? With actual attention economics at play, Caitlin's participation in any league has an existential bearing. Nobody outside of A'ja herself cares about whether A'ja shows up.
After one user posted, admirers swiftly pointed out the move. Clark dismissed it and went on, asking why A'ja felt the need to share her story with the world. She replied that she wasn't desperate, and someone else joked that it seemed like main character syndrome. The responses showed an increasing dissatisfaction with Wilson's apparent need to center herself in every story, not just with the leak itself. The optics of this leak, which highlight how her offer exceeded Clark's, are what make it especially puzzling. Wilson unintentionally turned the attention back to her luxury rather than her achievements. This is a recurrent element in her public persona that keeps turning off followers.
That's crazy because literally nobody asked, and sources close to A'ja Wilson decided to answer anyway.
However, Clark's silent dismissal brought attention to the widening gap between the two players, as Clark has positioned herself as focused and grounded. Wilson's actions frequently seem planned to maintain her name in the headlines regardless of how it's received for Unrivaled. The league had hoped to make its debut with two of the biggest names in the WNBA, but both rejected their offers, and in very different ways. Wilson's strategy only served to highlight the league's problems, while Clark's choice further solidified her reputation as the relatable hero that fans adore. As the backlash to the leak increased, it became evident that this wasn't just about turning down an offer. Rather, it was about how A'ja. Players who concentrate on creating the sport's future stand in stark contrast to Wilson's craving for recognition.
The more people can get out and watch the W or watch the college game or whatever it is, the better it's going to be for the future of the game.
A'ja Wilson is embroiled in controversy, but Caitlin Clark is subtly becoming the face of women's basketball, and for good reason, after setting a record in college and making her professional debut. Clark's talent, modesty, and unwavering focus have won over fans' hearts. Fans applauded Clark for choosing to put rest, off-season training, and long-term career growth ahead of a glitzy salary in a time when athletes are frequently chastised for pursuing fame. Clark's decision to turn down an unmatched million-dollar offer made headlines, but not because she wanted attention. Clark's practical strategy was a welcome shift.
I think the thing about leadership is like how you approach every single person is going to be completely different. And I think the thing that's helped me be successful throughout my career has been the relationships that I've been able to build with people. And every single person you have to approach differently because they come from a different background, they come from a different place. Somebody can be a little more tenderhearted, and for me, I'm probably want to be screamed at. Like, it's just everybody's a little bit different. So I think that's what's unique about leadership and being able to understand people, but that takes time, and building relationships is really important.
A fan posted a tweet. "We adore Caitlin Clark because she just understands her value and doesn't need to show it out." Another person commented, "She's not just a great player, she's a great role model." These remarks highlight the widening gap between Clark and other players, such as Wilson, in the eyes of fans. Wilson's latest antics, in which he seems to seek controversy, contrasts sharply with Clark's behavior. As the WNBA enters a crucial stage of its evolution, stars like Clark represent a new era of leadership that values humility, collaboration, and a clear vision for the league's future. As Clark continues to rise, she's setting a standard for what a true leader in the sport looks like. While Wilson may dominate headlines, it's Clark who's winning over fans and influencing the game's future. Clark is focused on the game and the greater good of women's basketball. She recognizes that her platform is bigger than herself and uses it to inspire future players and encourage the sport's growth.
That's the reason that you play. It's not because of the wins and the points you score. It's the amount of joy that you can bring people and the young girls that will one day grow up to hopefully, be whatever they want to be and get to talk about those moments too.
In women's basketball, A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark tell two very different stories. While Wilson, despite her extraordinary talent and accolades, finds herself at odds with fans and analysts because of her controversial remarks and apparent need for attention, Clark continues to grow as a symbol of humility, focus, and leadership qualities that have a profound impact on the audience. Wilson's allegations about the NBA's most difficult schedule and her alleged dominance over an NBA player one-on-one have generated a lot of discussion, but rather than highlighting the league's development and potential, these incidents have deflected attention from the game itself. When you combine that with the unparalleled leak and her annoyance with the NBA's popularity, it's easy to see why fans are growing weary.
Everybody talks about like the effect that we have on them, but also they have the same effect on us. And I think that's what's really cool about it is to see how much joy it really brings them, and it brings their families. And that one game where they spend 2 hours of their whole entire year has such an impact on their entire childhood. And I think that's really cool to think about.
However, as the WNBA enters a new era, players like Clark represent a brighter future rooted in connection, humility, and a vision for collective growth. Wilson's immense talent is undeniable, but unless her actions align with the league's goals, she runs the risk of alienating the very audience the WNBA is trying to win over. Clark's quiet rejection of unrivaled and her unwavering focus on the sport have set a standard for what fans and the league need right now. A'ja fans have already chosen between Wilson's contract rise and Caitlin Clark's quiet leadership, and it's obvious which narrative speaks to them more. What do you think? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe and enable all alerts so you don't miss anything. We'll see you in the next one after you click the video on the screen.